Hello, guys. Hola. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, or buenas noches. Welcome to yet another Spanish 101 video. Today, we're going to talk about a very basic fact, a very basic concept of grammar. We're going to talk about it mainly in English in order to prepare us for the equivalent in Spanish. We're going to talk about the verb, or in Spanish, el verbo. Okay, el verbo. So, let me start by reminding you that we've talked a lot about one big group of words that exists in both English and Spanish. We've talked a lot about nouns, right? What are nouns? If you recall, those are the types of words we use to name stuff, right? To name things, living beings, places, even ideas, right? We've talked a lot about those, so let's find very quickly the noun in this sentence. The professor teaches. Where's the noun here? You know that already, right? Professor is the noun. This refers to a living being, right? But today we're going to start to talk about another extremely important group of words. We're going to talk about verbs. So let's find the verb in this sentence. The professor teaches. So we know that professor is a noun, it can't be a verb. We know also that the is an article, so the verb here must be this. Teaches, right? Teaches is our verb in this sentence. What are verbs then? Verbs are the types of words we use to talk about actions, about things that are done. To study, to play, to talk, to fly, to read, to jump, to run, to drive, to live. Those are verbs. Let's look at some sentences and find the verbs. The woman drives the car. Okay? Where's the verb here? Where's the word that talks about an action? Woman? Nope. Right? That's a noun that talks about a living being. Car? No, that's not an action. That talks about a thing. And we know it's just an article. So where's our verb? Our verb is right here, right? Drives. Drives is our verb, right? To drive is an action. That's the action that the woman's doing. She's driving the car. How about this sentence? The man sleeps. This seems to be a very passive sentence, right? It's just a man sleeping. But if you think about it, sleeping is an action. It's something that is done, right? So sleeps is our verb in this sentence. Okay? How about the clock rings in the morning? Is the clock an action? No, it's a thing. Is the morning an action? No, that's just a part of the day. Rings, that is an action now, right? That is our verb in the sentence the clock rings in the morning. One last example. The coffee is good. Is coffee an action? No. It makes you active, but it's not an action. It's just, a thing, a drink. Is good an action? No. Maybe being good would be an action, right? Being is an action. Is our verb. Okay? The verb to drive, the woman drives the car. The verb to sleep, the man sleeps. The verb to ring, the clock rings in the morning. The verb to be, the coffee is good. Those are the verbs in these sentences. Okay? Now let's think about a very important fact that has to do with verbs. Why do I say the professor reads with an S at the end, but the students read with no S? Right? If I say the students reads, no, it doesn't ring right. There's something weird about that sentence. You need to say the students read, right? So why do I change this word? What's changing here that forces me to change the verb? Well, what's changing is the one doing the action. Right? And something very important about verbs is that you have to adjust them. You have to change them slightly so that they match who is doing the action. Okay? Even in English, in which you do this not as frequently as in other languages, you still have to do this. Change the verb so that it fits who is doing the action. Now, in grammar, the person, the people, the things, the beings, whatever it is, whoever it is that is doing an action in a sentence, we call them the subject of that sentence and of that action. And the action of changing a verb so that it matches its subject, that is called conjugating. Okay? And all verbs are conjugated. Okay? It's very, very important that you understand this about verbs. Okay? Now, every verb has a form that speaks about the action, but has no subject, that speaks about the action without anybody doing it. Okay? That form of a verb is called the infinitive. And in English, you construct it by putting the word to before the verb. Let me show you some examples. To fly. If you say to fly, do you mean that something or someone is flying? No. You just want to talk about the action of flying, right? To fly. Same thing with to read, to cook, to eat. If I say to eat, I don't mean anybody's eating. I'm just talking about the action. To eat, right? That is the infinitive of the verb, okay? Now, probably, as we discussed already with the sentence, the coffee is good, the most basic action one can do is to be, right? To exist. And for that action, we have precisely that verb in English, to be, okay? So I told you that conjugating means to change a verb so that it matches its subject. Let's look at the conjugation of to be in English. Here it is. I am, you are, he, she, it is, we are, you guys are, they are. Okay? What is this table? Well, the column on the left is basically a list of all possible subjects for an action. That is known as the list of personal pronouns. Okay? Personal pronouns on the left, and then on the right we have the correct forms of the verb to be for each of these subjects. So on the right we have the conjugated verb. This is what is known as a conjugation table, right? Personal pronouns on the left, conjugated verb on the right. This gives you all possible forms of the verb. Okay? Notice how much it is changing, right? I am, not I is, not I are, I am, right? And that form is exclusive for I, right? Then you also have he, she, it is, not he are or he am, right? Not she are, not it are, right? It doesn't, it am, no. You need to use is, right? And then are for all the rest, right? So even with this verb that changes a lot, English does not change as much as other languages, but still, you have several forms of the verb, and you have to use the correct one for the subject, right? That is conjugating a verb, okay? So to sum up what we have talked about in this video, verbs are the words we use to talk about actions. Verbs have a form in which no one is doing the action that talks about the action in general, and that form is called the infinitive. In English, the infinitive is constructed with the word to before the verb: to eat, to cook, to read. Right? And then verbs have to be changed so that they match the subject, the person, people, thing doing the action. Right? And that action of changing a verb is called conjugating. The way we do it is with a conjugation table like the one I'm showing you on this slide. Okay? So now we're prepared to think about this in Spanish, but that we will do in another video. Gracias, muchachos. Thank you. Hasta luego.